The night was thick with fog, a strange calm hanging in the air as two of horror's most iconic figures stood facing each other. It was the ultimate showdown: Leatherface, the chainsaw-wielding maniac from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, versus Michael Myers, the unstoppable force of terror from Halloween. Both had stalked their respective territories for years, each becoming a living nightmare, feared by all who dared to cross their paths. Tonight, they would meet. Leatherface, towering and brutish, stood at the edge of an old farmhouse. His mask, grotesque and made of human skin, twisted in the moonlight as he revved his chainsaw with a primal growl. The stench of rust and gasoline filled the air. Behind him, the dilapidated house seemed to loom, a reminder of the horrors that had occurred within. Leatherface's strength was undeniable. His sheer size and power made him a relentless force, able to overpower anyone foolish enough to get too close. His chainsaw, a terrifying extension of himself, could slice through flesh and bone with ease, sending his victims to their graves in the blink of an eye. But there was one thing that many overlooked: Leatherface was driven by a twisted form of family loyalty. His brutal actions were often chaotic, driven by instinct rather than any calculated, cold strategy. Across the field, Michael Myers appeared from the darkness, his figure looming like a ghost. His pale, expressionless face was an unsettling mask of silence. The only sound that accompanied him was the soft shuffle of his boots, the eerie clink of his butcher knife bouncing at his side. Michael had been around much longer than Leatherface, a being of death that had endured the test of time. His mind, if it could even be called that, was a mystery. He never spoke, never seemed to feel pain, and had an unyielding desire to hunt and kill. His method was simple: relentless pursuit, calculated strikes, and a deadly precision that made him one of the most fearsome killers in horror history. The knife he wielded was sharp, and though it seemed unassuming compared to Leatherface's chainsaw, it was no less effective, able to pierce deep into flesh with a single motion. As the two menacing figures closed in on each other, the tension was palpable. Leatherface's roar broke the silence as he lunged forward, chainsaw buzzing like a living beast. Michael didn't flinch. He stood still for a moment, observing his opponent, before slowly raising his knife. The fight began in a frenzy. Leatherface swung his chainsaw with brutal force, the weapon howling through the air. Michael danced around the attack with surprising agility, dodging the chainsaw's deadly blades by mere inches. For all his size, Leatherface's attacks were wide, sloppy. He was powerful, but his movements lacked the precise calculation that Michael brought to the table. Michael's knife was faster, slicing at Leatherface's arms and torso with deadly accuracy. Each strike left behind a gash, but the big man didn't seem to care. He was a tank, and pain was just another obstacle to overcome. At first, it seemed like the fight might end in a stalemate. Leatherface's sheer power was matched by Michael's unnerving ability to withstand pain and never back down. But soon, the difference in their mentalities began to show. Leatherface's rage and impulsiveness led him to swing wildly, losing his focus in the heat of the moment. Michael, on the other hand, was patient. He studied Leatherface's every move, waiting for the right moment to strike. That moment came when Leatherface, tired from his chaotic attacks, miscalculated his swing. As the chainsaw whizzed past Michael, he seized the opportunity, darting forward with lightning speed. In a flash, Michael buried his knife deep into Leatherface's side, twisting the blade as he pulled it back. The roar that followed was deafening, but Michael didn't give him a chance to recover. With one swift motion, he stepped forward, his knife striking deep into Leatherface's throat. The chainsaw fell to the ground with a metallic thud as Leatherface staggered back, blood pouring from his wound. Michael stood over him, his breath steady and unwavering. The fight was over. Michael Myers had won, but it wasn't just his strength that gave him victory. It was his cold, calculating nature. Leatherface may have had power, but Michael had patience and precision, and those were the qualities that made him the ultimate survivor. Leatherface's rage and impulsivity were his undoing. In the end, it was the silent, relentless hunter who stood tall, the embodiment of terror.